So myself, Himanshu Khatri, and I'll be taking your modern history, modern Indian history, and so basically, what are the basic FAQs that come across? So first point is regarding the syllabus. So syllabus wise, if we begin with, so basically, what is the story? Right, story it is about. So myself, Himanshu Khatri, and I'll be taking your modern history, modern Indian history, and so basically, what are the basic FAQs that come across? So first point is regarding the syllabus. So syllabus wise, if we begin with,
सबसे ज़्यादा weightage this block, this is environment. Okay, so environment is a very important subject. Now before we start reading and studying environment right away, we'll do some sort of fine tuning. जो रेडियो को जब हम किसी स्टेशन को पकड़ते हैं पहले उसका थोड़ा सा फाइन ट्यूनिंग करते हैं कि एग्जैक्टली हमें करना क्या है सब्जेक्ट में. ओके, सो फॉर दैट फाइन ट्यूनिंग वी विल बी स्टार्टिंग विद सम एनालिसिस ऑफ सम क्वेश्चंस. We will see what kind of questions UPSC gives in the environment section. Okay, and then after we'll start preparing. All right, so let's see. Okay, before that, sources. What are the some of the sources that you commonly have heard about, know about, or whatever, have read, have started reading? Newspapers, News Today. वाह वाह, कितने बच्चे honestly newspaper पढ़ रहे हैं regularly? इतने सारे गुड बच्चे इस क्लास में और बाकी सब
So hi, good evening. Did you had class last day? No. Acha, you in your batch also it was there. Chalo, that's good. I was actually not coming to the class today, but then I got to know that you didn't had any class. So the class duration would be small today, and we'll give you leave by 7:15. Okay? So there would be no break in the class today. So listen, so I think the last class, what we discussed, last in the chronology, Gupta age. So I think we are done with the Gupta age, all the things associated with the Gupta age. So now the next part that, doubts? Lower Paleolithic age was what we have written. See, देखो एक और चीज है, 2 million years before present कि आज से बहुत simple है, very simple, ठीक है, that आज से इतना पहले. But then you could have asked a other question that what is the difference between the BC and AD? हाँ, BC and C, हाँ. मेरे को दिखाना कहाँ पे यू हैव फाउंड, ठीक है, दैट वेयर इट इज रिटन, ठीक है. तो अगो और देखो आई जस्ट सिंप्लीफाइड इट बिफोर प्रेजेंट. इट्स वेरी सिंपल दैट आज से इतने 100 साल पहले, तो इट्स अ वेरी क्लियर थिंग, ठीक है. अब अगो का क्या मतलब है, विल हैव टू सी द स्पेसिफिक टेक्स्ट, ठीक है. एंड अगो फ्रॉम विच पार्ट? सो बेसिकली अगो इज यूज्ड ओनली व्हेन सम सर्टेन पॉइंट इज टेकन. सो फॉर एग्जांपल दैट birth of the Jesus. After that, ago would be countable. Okay? And ago in the forward direction, not in the backward direction. Okay? So ago from a particular point. So it's better to leave that ago part. It's better to know about the CE and BCE. किसी ने पूछा भी था मेरे से क्लास में. Who asked? हाँ. So चलो, I'll just start with the CE and BCE. That what is it? ठीक है? So yep. Capital. See, just 1 minute. ठीक है? This is not the class of the doubts. मतलब I'm not actually no. I'm not mocking you. What I said, अरे हंसना नहीं है, ठीक है? So what I said that this is just a chronology part. We are just going with a little bit of hint. The further elaborated things we'll be talking in the classes. So that's why we are not elaborating. I'm not elaborating the rest of the part. But then if you want that discussion, so Ajat Shatru has taken a decision to shift the capital. But before that, his death happened, and then the city was constructed by Udayin. So that is the information. But अभी उतना अंदर अभी नहीं जाना. It's just a chronology. ठीक है? So that's why I'm not entertaining any of the queries जब तक chronology चलेगा. After the chronology is over, when we are entering into the topic, so then after obviously the doubts and everything will be entertaining. So it's just a kind of making you acquainted through the entire history in one go, and that in a slow pace, so that थोड़ी बहुत तुम्हारा interface develop हो जाए कि history में क्या क्या है. ठीक है? ठीक है? So now we'll entertain your questions, but then third, fourth class के onwards आने दो. ठीक है? एक बार ये complete हो जाने दो, ancient and then medieval also get completed, and then after modern chronology also get completed. So once we start the course, so then we'll be going into the question answer mode also. ठीक है? So now let's come to, so I'll start with your request that what you asked about that BC or and AD. I think in last class we mentioned about BC and AD. So BC was before Christ and AD was Anno Domini. So basically when we look at these words, then so BC and AD, before Christ and Anno Domini, this is all related to the Christian world. Then so this is all related to the Christian world, and then moreover if we look at the present day world scenario, so obviously everybody is not Christian. Then, and in fact, large chunk of the people are not following any religion. So for example, majority of the people in China, they don't follow any religion. Then, so they are atheists. So why people who follow different religion, who follow no religion, why they will be using the Christian terminology? So there was a consensus among the international community to change this terminology with the words BCE and CE. So the equivalent of the BC is the BCE, and just give me 1 minute. So BCE, and equivalent of AD is the CE. So the meaning of this word, before common era, then, and this is called as common era. So for example, 2024 is the common era, meaning that in the common era we have 2024 years. We have already 2024 years. And what you asked, ago. Okay? So if I say कि Jesus Christ say 2024 year ago, we are in the present. Okay? So that would be the ago word. Then what is BC? So before common era. So generally it is considered that Jesus Christ's birth is the beginning of the common era, and uske piche ka jo bhi part hai, that is the before common era. Okay? So this is what is the terminology which is used in the place of the BC and AD. Okay? So books mein you may find this kind of terminology. Particularly in the new books, you will find BCE and CE rather than they are writing BC and AD. Okay? So now what we talked about the Guptas. So Guptas में 5 rulers की बात की थी हमने, ठीक है? So we just mentioned about that Sri Gupta was the founder, and then after the most important ruler was the Chandragupta first, 319 to 335, ठीक है? Then he was succeeded by his son Samudragupta, and after Samudragupta, the next ruler was Chandragupta second, most enlightened ruler of the Gupta history, then Kumaragupta and Skandagupta. So there are some developments, likhna nahi, in course we'll be writing. So just listen. So during the time of the Chandragupta first, there was one Chinese Buddhist traveler who has come to India, and the name of the Chinese Buddhist traveler was Huensang. Then, so actually when later on when we talk about the different systems which existed in the Gupta society, not Huensang, sorry, Fahayan. So Fahayan came at this point of time, and Fahayan noted down that what existed in the Gupta time. So basically when later on when we talk about that what was there in the Gupta society, their polity, their economy, their features, then so one of the source of information is the book of the Fahayan, Fukuoki. Okay? So Fukuoki. Another thing, that son of the Chandragupta first was Kumaragupta, and Kumaragupta influenced by Fahayan, he founded the very famous Nalanda University. And Nalanda University is regarded as the first modern university of India. So now further moving ahead with this chronology, I just need to ask you that before Nalanda, was there any university in India of repute? Takshashila. Okay? So Takshashila. So Takshashila University, and where it existed? Nalanda to naam se samajh mein aa raha hai that it must be in Bihar. Then where was Takshashila? Very good, exactly, Pakistan. Okay? And northwest frontier part of the Pakistan, basically Gandhar province. So northwest frontier of the Pakistan was known as Gandhar, and this is the area where Takshashila was there. But then there was a question, बहुत पहले तो नहीं, in 2015 I think it was asked in the mains paper related to the Takshashila and Nalanda. So it was, the question was about that why Nalanda is modern and why Takshashila is not considered as modern. Then, so do you have any idea that what kind of system existed in the Takshashila? That, and it was actually not a modern university. Since we are maintaining that Nalanda was a modern university, तो Takshashila नहीं था, इसीलिए बोल रहे हैं. So what was there in the Takshashila? I'll tell you one thing, okay? So later on, when we further go deeper into the history, and then we talk about the different aspects of Vedic society, then post-Vedic society, so we come across the instances of the Mahabharata. Then, as far as the two epics of the Indian land or Sanskrit are concerned, so Ramayana and Mahabharata, though Mahabharata is not completely considered as a mythological, Ramayana may be considered as completely mythological. Okay? So some of the parts of the Mahabharata, okay, they are well mentioned and composed in the Vedic times itself. Then, so the story is all true. Then now you look back at the system of the education which existed in Mahabharata. I hope सबने देखा होगा महाभारत, लगभग 90% लोगों ने देखा होगा. So what was the system of education in Mahabharata times? Gurukul. Very good, exactly. So Gurukul Vyavastha was there in the Takshashila, okay? And in Gurukul Vyavastha, Guru Shishya Parampara used to be there. Then there was no established university. In fact, education was happening at the house of the Guru, which was called as ashram. Okay? So students are going to the house of the ashram, they were educated over there. Then, and moreover, whenever they are getting educated over there, so have you seen that in Mahabharata, have they depicted that any regular exam is happening? No. So no regular exams were conducted. The students were passed out, or they were released from the Guru's ashram when the Guru is satisfied that he has got enough knowledge. Then, so he has got enough knowledge, and moreover, the system of the payment was voluntary, and that voluntary payment was called as Guru Dakshina. Okay? So Guru Dakshina. So these were the traits in the Takshashila. Then, but in Nalanda, it's a modern university, and in modern university, the modern traits would be there. So for the first time, classrooms were created, libraries were created, hostels were created, regular exam was there. Students were passing appearing in the exam, and if they are passing the exam, so then they are promoted to the next grade. So there used to be defined syllabus also. So this is what was the basic difference between the two ages, and then also the two timelines of the Indian history. Okay? So before the establishment of Nalanda, the Guru Shishya Parampara was very popular, and then after, the university and the collegiate system started from the Kumar Gupta time. Okay? I did elaborate it a little bit more, so that you must have a little bit of glimpse of it. Then after Skanda Gupta, what we mentioned, that he was the last important Gupta ruler, and during his time, that there were some tribes from the Western Asia whose names were Hunas. Then they started attacking, invading the Gupta territory. But then Skandagupta was a strong ruler, and he was able to contest, or he was able to fight these Hunas. In 467-68, when the death of the Skandagupta has happened, so Hunas have reorganized themselves under the leadership of the two persons, and their names were Mihirkul and Toraman. And then after, they completely destroyed the Gupta cities. Okay? They continuously invaded Guptas, they looted the wealth of the Guptas, and finally by 550, Gupta dynasty came to a complete end. Then, so on one hand, we are seeing that this is the development in the north and the central India. Let's go back to the South India. So अभी तक हमने South की बात नहीं की थी. I think we haven't talked. So now I'm moving to the South India. You remember at the time of the Just give me 1 minute. So, at the time of Maurya, what we mentioned? Listen. So, we mentioned that Asoka, he controlled the maximum territory in the Indian subcontinent. Then, so maximum territory in the Indian subcontinent, and moreover, that barring few states, this is the statement we made in the classes, barring few areas in the South India, the entire Indian subcontinent was under the control of Asoka. So what are those areas in the South India which were not under the control of Asoka? So these areas are referred as Sangam Age Dynasty. Sangam Age Dynasty. Then, and in South India, these Sangam Age dynasties, so there are 3 dynasties in South India. There were, so they are called as the early Chola, the Cheras, and the Pandyas. Cheras and the Pandyas. So let's go with a map also. Timeline likhunga, but then I'll create a little bit of. So what was the location of these dynasties? So Cheras are basically the Kerala country, okay? But then covering the area of little bit of the Tamil Nadu also, okay? And then when it comes to the Pandyas, so Pandyas would be the Tamil Nadu part. Okay, so this is the Pandya part, the green one. And then when it comes to early Cholas, so early Cholas, they have part of Tamil Nadu also, Karnataka also, and Andhra also. So this is the Chola region, and so this is Chera, and this one is Pandya. Then, now you must be thinking कि यहाँ पे हमने ये जो नाम लिखा है Sangam Age Dynasty. Why that there are 3 separate dynasties, but why all of them we are referring as a Sangam Age? So basically this word, अब ध्यान से समझना, that this word Sangam Age is indicative of Sangam Assembly. Indicative of Sangam Assembly. Then, now understand, what is Sangam Assembly? So there was, when these dynasties have come to reality, so there was one such unique attribute of these dynasties, that they all were interested in the promotion and the creation and the propagation of literature. Okay? Which literature? Tamil literature. The Tamil literature is called as Sangam literature. So basically what happened, that the timeline of the Sangam Age dynasty. So during the timeline of theirs, Pandyas, they convened 3 Sangam assemblies. Then these assemblies were meant for the compilation of the Tamil literature. And in these assembly, despite they are the enemies of each other, but all of them participated in the assemblies for the promotion of the literature. So that's why their age is called as Sangam age. Okay? But then there is a problem with the, in last class somebody asked कि Tamil Nadu वाला book पढ़ना चाहिए कि नहीं पढ़ना चाहिए, ठीक है? So there is a hell lot of issue with the timeline of the Sangam age. Now understand. So when it comes to NCRTs, so NCRTs, they do mention that their existence, so Sangam age dynasties, their existence is from the 3rd century BC, then to 600 AD. So they say that their existence is in between these ages. But nowadays what has happened, that in 2019 there was some sort of excavation in Tamil Nadu, and Archaeological Survey of India and the many state board bodies, they have gone into the excavation, and there is a place called Kiladi in Tamil Nadu. Okay? And from Kiladi they did the carbon dating and everything, and the Tamil Nadu government came up with a version that Sangam age is not just between 3rd to 600 AD, but it is from 500 BC to 600 AD. So their timeline is different from the government of India timeline. Okay? So here we are just writing a 3rd century BC to 600 AD likhna. Then, so now this is the age. Another thing that now you look at these all dynasties. These are the coastal dynasties. Okay? These are the coastal dynasties. All of them have a big coastal line. So they had a very good trade relations or oceanic trade relations with the many parts of the world. So they had a good trade relation with the Arab world. They had the good trade relation with the Indonesian or Malay Peninsula part of the world. Then, so they were rich because of it. Moreover, since they are having a very big coastal line, so it is the necessity of these rulers that they must develop a very strong navy. Okay? So boating techniques, naval techniques or naval forces were very strong in all the 3 dynasties. Now understand. So out of these 3 dynasties, by 600 there are some changes which are going to happen. Okay? ध्यान से समझना. Cheras, their rule will continue. Okay? They are no more very strong, but still their rule will continue by 600. Even after 600. And Pandyas, even their rule will also continue after 600. Though they are not strong like the previous age, but then still they have not completely decimated. There was issue with the early Chola dynasty. Then, so this particular dynasty, it was completely defeated and then it started to disappear. So decline and disintegration of the early Chola in South India, it led to the arrival of 2 new dynasties at its place. And these 2 new dynasties are known as Chalukyas and Pallavas. Okay? So Chalukyas and Pallavas. So Chalukyas and Pallavas, they are coming at the place of the early Chola. Now, so Chalukyas were based in Badami, a place called Badami. And where is Badami? Karnataka. So they were based in Badami in Karnataka. And when it comes to Pallavas, so Pallavas were based in Kanchi. Okay? And where is Kanchi? Tamil Nadu. Okay? So Tamil Nadu. Now let's look at this map which I have created. एक बार लिख लेना बाद में, but just come to this part. So when we look at this map, so if we divide it like this, and so this would be the Chalukya part and this would be the Pallava part. Then, so Chola area got divided into these 2 kingdoms. Then, moreover, then as far as their timeline is concerned, so their arrival is by 550 AD and they were already there by 590 AD. Then, so these 2 dynasties are emerging in the southern India. Moreover, they will be further expanding. So though they started from this particular area, but then their expansion is also happening in this direction, Okay? So by the end of 900, their expansion is further going in the upward direction, and so as little bit in the Pandya and the Chera kingdoms also. I hope you got it. Then, so this is the South Indian scenario. I will come back to the South India once again in 900. अब फिर से वापस we go to the North India. So यहाँ से थोड़ी सी हिस्ट्री डिवाइडेड हो जाती है. ठीक है, अभी तक तो हम नॉर्थ चल रहे थे, that till the Guptas, but then now we are looking at the south also. But now understand. So I'm keeping Chalukyas and Pallavas over here. I'm revisiting north. Then, and in north, what we said that Guptas, their decline and disintegration happened by 550. एक बार फिर से, after the Guptas have declined, so there was a vacuum which was created in the central India and the North India, and this vacuum was to be filled by some new dynasty, and this new dynasty was actually based in Haryana. Okay? So there is a place called Thaneshwar in Haryana, and from Thaneshwar in Haryana, the Pushyabhuti dynasty emerged. So the original founder of the Pushyabhuti dynasty was Prabhakar Vardhan, and then after him, the next person was the Rajyavardhan, and the last ruler, the most important ruler was Harshvardhan. So basically, Prabhakar Vardhan was the founder, Rajyavardhan and Harshvardhan were his sons. Rajyavardhan was the eldest, and he was killed by Shashank God, who was a ruler of the Bengal. Then after Harshvardhan has come to power. So just mention a little bit. You write Pushya Bhuti dynasty. Pushya Bhuti dynasty, and this dynasty was exactly established in 600 AD. Then 600 AD. Then it has the important ruler was Harshvardhan, about whom we'll be discussing a bit longer. So Harshvardhan tenure, as far as his tenure is concerned, it is said that from 604 to 647 AD was the tenure of the Harshvardhan. Tenure of Harshvardhan. Done? Then after the death of Harshvardhan, I am not talking much about him, just एक information, जैसे पिछली बार हमने क्या बात किया था, that at the time of the Chandragupta II, Fahayan came to India, and then after, under his influence, Kumar Gupta has gone to create Nalanda University. Then, and one of the most important learning in the Nalanda was the Buddhist religion itself. Then, at this point of time when Harshvardhan was the ruler, so another Chinese Buddhist traveler has come to India whose name was Huensang. Okay? So how do we write Huensang? H-I-E-U-N-T-S-A-N-G. So Huensang has visited India. As far as the religion of the Harshvardhan is concerned, so they were Hindus, then they were also the devotees of the Lord Shiva, and moreover, under the influence of the Huensang, Harshvardhan has also converted to which Buddhism? Mahayana Buddhism. Okay? So he converted to Mahayana Buddhism. Now, so Harshvardhan regime continued till 647. In fact, us time pe bhi, the year in which the death of the Harshvardhan has happened, one more Chinese Buddhist traveler came to India, and his name was Itsing. Okay? So he came to meet Harshvardhan, but he was not able to meet Harshvardhan because the moment he came, Harshvardhan's death has already happened. Then, so now after the death of Harshvardhan, the weak successors were there, and they also completely disappeared by 700. Then, so they also completely disappeared by 700. Ek bar fir se, there was a vacuum in the north and central India as far as the Harshvardhan's regime is concerned. So I'm doing one thing, just give me a minute. Then in this map itself, I will add the Harshvardhan's area. I think there is no space. So I'll do one thing. Just give me 1 minute so that the clarity would be there. Upper part of India. So basically, so the area which was controlled by Harshvardhan was everything which was above Narmada river. So Narmada river drains into Gulf of Khambat. Okay? And this entire part, even including the areas in Pakistan, so will be under Harshvardhan's regime. So let's do that exercise. Barring few areas in Bengal, this is entire Harshvardhan's regime. Then Bengal में इस time पे, though we are not mentioning, there was a one ruler whose dynasty was Gauda, and the name of the ruler who was there in the Bengal at this time, his name was Shashank God. Then, so Shashank God was the enemy of the Harshvardhan. Then he was ruling in entire Bangladesh part also. So Shashank God, and actually जब बाद में, or basically when we are going to elaborate, so then we talk about that what was the crime of the Shashank God. Do you know that what was the crime that he performed? He was the one who cut the Bodhi tree under which Buddha got nirvana. Bodh Gaya. Bodhi tree, you know, na? At least you must have heard. The people tree under which Buddha got nirvana. So he is the one who cut the Bodhi tree because he was adversary of the Harshvardhan, and Harshvardhan has accepted Buddhism. Okay? So we'll talk about him. So this is the part of the Harshvardhan. Now another thing you understand, when Harshvardhan was the ruler, what we mentioned 604 to 647, at this point of time, अब साउथ इंडिया में, ठीक है, चालुक्य, ठीक है, एंड इन चालुक्य एरिया पुलकेशिन सेकंड वाज द रूलर. Pulakesin II was the ruler. He was contemporary of the Harshvardhan, and there was a fight between Harshvardhan and Pulakesin II. In this fight, for the very first time, Harshvardhan was defeated. Before that, Harshvardhan was not defeated, but it is Chalukya ruler who defeated him. But then this defeat resulted into a friendship treaty. And what was the treaty? That treaty said that all the area, okay, below Narmada river, it will be Chalukya. Okay? So it will be under the influence of Chalukya, and all the area above Narmada river will be under the influence of the Harshvardhan. Harshvardhan will not attack below Narmada, and Pulakesin will not attack above Narmada. So this was the treaty which happened at this point of time. Both were contemporaries. Then, so now फिर से वापस सुनते हैं that Harshvardhan's death, and then after within 50 years this dynasty also came to end. And as you look at the area, how much area they are controlling, that he is controlling near half of the India. So half of the India यहाँ पे vacuum create हो गया. Now by 750, after the demise of the Harshvardhan, 3 new dynasties emerged in the southern part of India. So these 3 new dynasties. Then, so just 1 minute. Let me take another color. Yeah. So this part, this will go with Pratihar Gurjar. I'm just writing some notations. Then this, basically this part, other part, this will go with this entire area. This will be under Palas, and even Pulakesin's death has happened. Chalukya's decline has also started, and in the Chalukya area, okay, there would be another dynasty which will be known as Rashtrakoot. Then, so these 3 dynasties are emerging, and so let's write over here. By 750 AD, Pratihar Gurjar emerged in the west. Pratihar Gurjar emerged in the west. Then Pal dynasty emerged in east, and the Rashtrakoot dynasty in central India, central and Deccan. Rashtrakoot dynasty central plus Deccan. So in this area, central plus Deccan. So at whose place these are emerging? Which area? बताओ, अभी तो discuss किया. Harshvardhan's dynasty, Pushyabhuti's demise, and then in that area 3 dynasties have emerged. Okay? Now this has happened over here, but then on the other hand there is a decline of the Chalukyas, Pallavas by 900. There is so much of branching which has happened in Chalukya, and majority of the Chalukya area was captured by this Rashtrakoot dynasty. On the other hand, Pallava's decline also happened. Complete decline happened in 890. So I'm revisiting. अब इस बार क्या हो रहा है कि we are going to south, then north, then south, then north. So we are moving like this. So now 890, there was complete decline of the, I'm writing it over here, 890 AD, complete decline of Pallava, and at the place of Pallava who is emerging? The last dynasty of the ancient India. ठीक है, इसके बाद medieval chronology start हो जाता है. ठीक है, so the last dynasty of the ancient India is, बताओ, mainline Chola dynasty. Mainline Chola dynasty. They are also referred as Imperial Chola. So they are also referred as Imperial Chola. So mainline Chola dynasty or Imperial Chola. Then, and when it was founded, so it was founded by Vijayalaya. Vijayalaya in 890 AD. Then, अब एक separate map बना रहा हूं in which you will get to know the climax of the Cholas. ठीक है? So now, so this map is by 1018 AD. उस टाइम का मैप है ये, the one which I am creating, and it is related to the mainline Cholas. So what is this? Now they have captured the entire southern India, this entire part. Meaning Pandyas completely defeated, Cheras completely defeated, Chalukyas completely defeated. ठीक है? Pallavas no more. So this is the biggest dynasty of the southern India, or the dynasty which ruled at the climax territory, ठीक है, or the highest tract of the territory. Moreover, अब यहाँ पे एक word लिखा है हमने, Imperial Chola. Do you understand the meaning of the word Imperial? और generic, modern में बाद में हम थोड़ा डिस्कशन करेंगे, but generic meaning of the Imperial. क्या बताओ? Royal. Imperial does not mean royal. Imperial means, yes, very good, exactly. When a dynasty of our land, if you try to capture a land in the foreign area, so I'll be called as Imperial dynasty. You're getting it? So imperialism is that people of one such area, one such country, if they try to capture the land in the other area, so that is the imperial tendency. So perhaps mainline Cholas are regarded as the only imperial dynasty of India. कल मैं newspaper पढ़ रहा था, and in newspaper that there were some foreign scholars who mentioned that hardly there are any dynasties in India, in the ancient India, who tried to attack on the foreign countries. It is true, but then there is an exception, and that exception is the mainline Chola. So where they attacked, where they occupied? Malay Peninsula. Then, so Malay Peninsula. So this is the time, बाद में हम स्टोरी में इंकॉर्पोरेट करेंगे, that there was this ruler whose name was Raja Chola and his son Rajendra Chola. So it is Rajendra first Chola who crossed the Bay of Bengal. He entered into the Malay Peninsula. And what is Malay Peninsula? Today's Malaysia, so as Singapore and entire Indonesia, which includes Java, Sumatra, Bali, everything. Okay? So he attacked on the cities of the Sri Vijay, and for some time he captured it. Then, and actually after this time there was a cultural exchange between India and the Malay Peninsula. So for example, abhi aaj ke time pe if you see the population in the Singapore, then, and population in the Malaysia, you know which particular expatriates are largest in the number? Indians. Then, so in Malaysia also large number of the Tamil people are there, and so as in the Singapore, near about 18 to 20% people are Tamil origin people. Then, so that's the time when this migration has happened. So this is the last dynasty of the ancient India. ठीक है? So हम यहाँ पे ancient का syllabus खत्म करते हैं, और उसके बाद then we talk about the developments which are leading to the establishment of the Islamic rule in India. So हाँ पूछो. Yes, yes. They were the lineage of that Chola only. That's why they have kept the name. So they had the lineage. They were not enjoying the royal power in between 600 to 890. So what they did, that since they were not the king, so they became feudatory of the Pallava. Feudatory का मतलब क्या होता है? दरबारी. ठीक है. So they became Darbaris of the Pallava, and being a Darbari in the Pallav court, they toppled the Pallava ruler in 890, and then once again they came to power. Okay, so they were the same Cholas, but then there is a gap of this 600 to 890. So एक title लिखो, mention, so separate title, just write developments that led to establishment of Islamic rule in India. That led to establishment of Islamic rule in India. So isme we'll have to start with some of the events which are basically has started before that the 1200. So first we'll talk about the Islamic invasions, and then we'll talk about the final establishment. So isme subtitle likho, Islamic invasions. Islamic invasions. So you have any idea that when the Islamic invasions, very first Islamic invasion, when it happened? Yeah. Yes, very good. 711-12 in the Sindh area. So where is Sindh? That this Gujarat map that we create very often. So this entire part is the Sindh. Karachi is actually the capital of the Sindh. Then, so now the very first attack was the Muhammad bin Qasim's invasion. Muhammad bin Qasim's invasion. So this is happening in 712 AD. Yeah. So Muhammad bin Qasim's invasion, 712 AD. Then now, so as you can see that 712, it's very closer to the timeline of the Prophet Muhammad and establishment of the Islam. So Islam, as far as the four major religions of the world are concerned, it is the newest religion, which was established in the 7th century AD in Saudi Arabia. Then, so the timeline or life of the Prophet Muhammad is between 600 to 700. So meaning just after the establishment, there is arrival of the religion in India. But then we'll try to find out that why the Muhammad bin Qasim, who belonged to the Umayyad dynasty of Saudi Arabia, why he attacked on the Sindh. So one small event I'll tell you. Okay? The event was basically Karachi, the place which is Karachi right now. The old name of the Karachi port was Deval. Then, and there was a news that the ships which were originating from the Makkah, Medina, that from Saudi Arabia, when they were going from this area, so they were looted at the Deval. Then, so now Muhammad bin Qasim, he wanted to stop this particular looting of the ships, and then he attacked on the Deval. Then, so though originally the thing was people of the Deval hasn't looted the ship, but Muhammad bin Qasim has a wrong information. So he attacked on the Deval, and then after he captured the port of Deval. In fact, he also hacked the ruler of the Sindh, Dahir, to death. And then after, he has gone back to Saudi Arabia. But then he himself had many such issues with the Turkish rulers. Okay? And because of his issues with the Turkish ruler, he was killed in the Turkey itself. After that, what happened? So the rule that he has established in Sindh, now it was once again removed. So though he established the Islamic rule in Sindh, but then it was not surviving for a longer period of time. In fact, अभी थोड़ी देर पहले क्या लिखा था? Harshvardhan's death, and after the Harshvardhan's death, 3 dynasties emerged: Pratihar, Gurjar, okay, Pal, and Rashtrakud. So where are these Pratihar, Gurjar? Western part of the Indian subcontinent, which also includes Sindh. So it is actually the Pratihar Gurjar ruler, whose name was Nag Bhatt, who removed the forces of the Muhammad bin Qasim from the Sindh. So their rule continued till 1000 AD, you can say. Now the second invasion, Islamic invasion, was, this is the most ferocious, invasion of, any idea? Mahmud of Ghazni. Invasion of Mahmud of Ghazni. So he started to attack India from 985 AD. Then, so he started his attack from 985 AD, and his last attack on India was in 1025 AD. Then, so now I just need to tell you something or few stuff associated with the Mahmud of Ghazni. So, as far as the rule of the Mahmud of Ghazni is concerned, he was the ruler of the Western Asia. Okay? And when we take the name Western Asia, so it will include the parts of the Iran, not complete Iran, but parts of the Iran, entire Iraq, parts of the, have you heard about one area which is tri-junction of the Turkey, Iraq, and then the countries which are there in the Levant known as Kurdistan? Have you heard? कुर्दिस्तान ट्राई जंक्शन है 3 कंट्रीज का, एक तरफ टर्की, दूसरी तरफ इराक, एंड ऊपर की तरफ दैट दोज कंट्रीज व्हिच वर अर्लियर द पार्ट ऑफ द रशिया. ठीक है, सो दैट इज द ट्राई जंक्शन. सो बेसिकली स्टार्टिंग फ्रॉम द ईरान एंड गोइंग टिल द सीरिया. ठीक है, आर यू एबल टू लोकेट वेयर इज सीरिया? वैसे तो क्लास में मैप होता है, जस्ट गिव मी 1 मिनट. सो वैसे तो इट इज वेरी स्मॉल, बट देन we can see. So as you can see that starting from Iran, this is Turkey, okay? So Turkey, and this is the part of the Syria. So this entire part was the Samanid dynasty, whose ruler was Mahmud of Ghazni. Okay? So the name of dynasty was the Samanid, Samanid. So now understand why Mahmud of Ghazni started to attack India. इसका भी एक reason है. That इसके लिए भी just I'm going to the map. So you look at the Central Asian nations ऊपर की तरफ, ठीक है? So these Central Asian nations, Kyrgyzstan, Kazakhstan, ठीक है, Uzbekistan. So these Central Asian nations, the people of these area, they were the followers of the nature. They were not worshipping any such religious god, but they were the followers of the nature. And their attack started in the Samanid area. Samanid is ruled by whom? Mahmud of Ghazni. So, not only he was fighting with them, but at the same point of time, to fight and to continue his activity and to further propagate Islam, he needed money, funds. There was one such legend which was popular about India, that it was the richest nation in the world. And in fact, one acronym which was given to India, Sone ki Chidiya. Then, this India's wealth brought him to this land, but then, he may be, his work in Western Asia may be cultural rejuvenation, but in India he was a plunderer. Then in India he was a murderer. Then 17 times he attacked the Indian subcontinent, and then he is starting from the Punjab going till the Gujarat. So 17 times he has attacked, he has looted the people, he has destroyed the temples, and then apart from it, even the destruction of the wealth and the capital could be forgiven. But what atrocity he did to the women of the Indian subcontinent, that cannot be forgiven. Then, so there was a sexual assault on the people of the India. That was also there. In fact, large number of the people were taken from the Indian subcontinent, meaning both India and Pakistan. ठीक है? Pakistan तो 1947 में बना है. It was India. So then, people from this land was taken to the markets in the Western Asia and the other parts of the Asia. Okay? And they were sold over there. So what crimes he performed, for the crimes he is not forgiven. And in fact, it is said that his last attack was on the temple of the Somnath. Okay? And he is the one who destroyed and who took the Sivalinga of the Somnath. But then I'll tell you one more thing, that the Sivalinga of the, there is a, that it's a cultural thing. I'm just sharing with you that because this information is relevant at this point of time. So as per the religious beliefs of the Hinduism, okay, and the rituals of the Hinduism, that if somebody's death happened on a god's abode or on the feet of the god or the Sivalinga, so Hindi में एक word होता है विसर्जन. You understand? विसर्जन? विसर्जन, you understand? Or basically leaving of the soul from the body. So, leaving of the soul from the body. So, it is believed that if somebody dies on the feet of the god or the Sivalinga or on the body of the god, so then the visarjan of the god happens. Okay? You understand? Meaning that God has left that particular thing and it becomes a stone. So, this is exactly what happened in Somnath. As per those stories, that which are there. So the chief priest of the Somnath, who was requesting to Mahmud of Ghazni that not to, he can take all the wealth, then he can destroy the temple, but he must not take the Sivalinga. But Mahmud of Ghazni was hell-bent. Then, so what he did, that he said to the Mahmud of Ghazni that you can take it, then, but kill me on the, I'm keeping my head on the Sivalinga and kill me over there. So when he killed him, so what happened, that blood is spilling out, and then as per the Hindu ritual, the Sivalinga was Visarjit. Visarjit samajh rahe ho na? Meaning that the prana of the god has left and now it has become stone. So even if he takes that particular stone to any place, that is fine. Okay? So this is what happened in the Somnath. That's why later on also, after the independence, the Prana Pratishtha, since this word is very popular nowadays, so Prana Pratishtha once again happened. क्योंकि प्राण छोड़ चुके हैं, तभी प्राण प्रतिष्ठा हो रही है. जब प्राण नहीं छोड़ चुके होते तो प्राण प्रतिष्ठा नहीं होती. So that's why once again प्राण प्रतिष्ठा happened, which was done by the President of India, Rajendra Prasad, at that point of time. Okay, he participated in that. And in fact, I think this was a question which was asked to 1-2 साल पहले. एक बार पेपर उठा के देखना. This question was related to the Somnath temple was asked. So his crime was this. Then his crime was this, and then he is never forgiven in the Indian history. But then his success in India further gave hope and lucrative aspect to the people who were there in the Samanid area. Once again, what happened, that he is gone back. His death also happened, and his area is ruled by many people. But in 1150s, okay? So from 1150s, once again there was an infight in the Samanid area, meaning Western Asia. So जो rulers वहाँ पे थे, ठीक है, they started to fight with each other. Then, and they were fighting for obviously wealth. Then they were fighting for very fertile area of the Syria. In this, what happened in this fight, there was one dynasty or one ruler from the Samanid area. His name was Muhammad Ghuri. ठीक है, he was defeated, and he decided that after his defeat that he will focus his attention to India. So third invasion is Muhammad Ghuri's invasion. Muhammad Ghuri's invasion. Where is? Ghazni is believed to be a place on the borders of the Iran and Afghanistan. Okay? And Ghurid is specifically in the this area, Afghanistan only. Then Muhammad Ghuri's invasion. Then, so now, just give me 1 minute. The question which was there na, so I will give you. एक बार सुनो इस question को. So the Prime Minister recently inaugurated the new circuit house near Somnath temple at Veraval. So which of the following statement are correct regarding Somnath temple? So Somnath temple is one of the Jyotirling shrine. Is it? कैसा ज्योतिर्लिंग है बताओ? शिव ज्योतिर्लिंग. इसकी कहानी मैं बताऊंगा तुम लोग को. जब whenever the art and culture classes would be there, so when I talk about the Solanki temple, so in Solanki temple we'll mention the story of the Shiva Jyotirling. ठीक है? Then a description of Somnath temple was given by Al-Biruni. Have you heard about Al-Biruni? Who was he? So he was at the time of the Muhammad Ghuri's invasion. ठीक है? So देखो बहुत सारे ट्रैवलर्स थे. अभी एंशिएंट इंडिया में तो हमने ट्रैवलर की बात की. अब इस टाइम पे ट्रैवलर की जब बात आती है तो वेरी फर्स्ट इज द अल-बिरूनी हिमसेल्फ हु केम अलोंग विद द महमूद ऑफ गजनी. बट देन देयर वाज अ वन ट्रैवलर हु केम एट द टाइम ऑफ द अलाउद्दीन मोहम्मद बिन तुगलक, इब्न बतूता. ठीक है? So Al-Biruni has given a description of the Somnath temple. ठीक है? So these are the some of the important facts associated with it. Then let's come back to this one. So Muhammad Ghuri's invasion. So when Muhammad Ghuri started invasion of India, 1170s. Okay? So from 1170s he started invasion of India. अब इसमें भी थोड़ा सा सुन लो that how he established the rule over here in India. So basically that initially he was very successful in the Pakistan part, Multan and Uch. So Multan is basically a part which is closer to Afghanistan. Okay? So he was victorious in the Multan, he captured it. Uch was below the Multan. Then He also captured it. But then he was also having the same idea or same belief that he will win over the Gujarat. Okay? This time when he attacked on the Gujarat, so the ruler of the Gujarat was Raja Bhimdev Solanki. Then they were well prepared and they defeated Muhammad Ghuri. Okay? So Muhammad Ghuri was not successful in Gujarat at this point of time. Then what happened? So when he was defeated in the Gujarat, then he decided that he will focus on the very fertile area of India, that is Tabar Hind. And Tabar Hind is the today's Bhatinda of the Punjab. And this area was ruled by Prithviraj Chauhan, a dynasty which was based in Ajmer. Ajmer, so a Chauhan ruler. So now, what happened? 1191, there was a first battle between the two people, Prithviraj Chauhan and Muhammad Ghuri, known as Battle of Tarain. So in the very first battle, Prithviraj Chauhan defeated him. But in the second battle of Tarain, 1192, Prithviraj Chauhan was defeated. And then later on, he was hacked to death also. So why Prithviraj Chauhan was defeated in the second battle? Because he became the victim of the treachery of the Gehdola ruler Jaichand. So Jaichand supported Muhammad Ghuri. There is an altogether different episode. Love affair का कुछ issue था. ठीक है? I hope you know this thing. ठीक है? That Jaichand's daughter Sanyogita, she eloped with Prithviraj Chauhan against the wishes of the father, and that's the time when Jaichand wanted to take the revenge from the Prithviraj Chauhan. So this is the opportunity. 1192, he supported Muhammad Ghuri, and Prithviraj Chauhan was eliminated. After that, what happened? For some time, okay, the rulership of the Ajmer was given to Jaichand. But then Muhammad Ghuri was an intelligent guy. He was a smart person. 1194, he sent his trusted slave Kutubuddin Aibak, then who defeated and killed Jaichand in Battle of Chandavar. Chandavar is Etawah. Then so he was killed, and then after informal Turkish rule started in India. अभी इस declaration नहीं हुआ है Turkish rule का, but informal, so caretaker kind of thing. So Kutubuddin Aibak was the caretaker of the Indian territory of the Muhammad Ghuri. In 1206, Muhammad Ghuri, he came to India to celebrate some sort of his victory in Afghanistan. But then when he was returning back from India after celebrating the victory, he was killed in the salt range by the Khakhar Jats of the that area. So he was killed, and after that immediately Kutubuddin Aibak, who was the trusted slave of the Muhammad Ghuri, he declared the formation of Delhi Sultanate. Okay? So this is the event which is leading to the formation of Delhi Sultanate. So though the parts we are not writing, but story I have told you. So इसमें दो चीजें बस लिख सकते हो. एक लिखो Battle of Tarain, 1192, and between Muhammad Ghuri plus versus Prithviraj Chauhan versus Prithviraj Chauhan. Then so this second battle likh lo, because it will be clear. And then one more battle you write, Battle of Chandavar, 1194, and in brackets you write Jaichand killed by slave of Muhammad Ghuri, Kutubuddin Aibak. Kutubuddin Aibak. Done? Got it? Then देखो 1206, assassination of Muhammad Ghuri. Assassination of Muhammad Ghuri. I already mentioned by Khokhar Jats. Oh, sorry, Muhammad Ghori. Yeah, that's fine. So, assassination of the Muhammad Ghori by Khokhar Jats in the Salt Range. Take it. Jats, you know, na, that Jat is the particularly the population of the Western UP, Haryana. Take care. That this is a kind of a regionalistic identity. So now, assassination happened, and after the assassination, so you write. Next title. So now formally we are into the medieval period. Then, so medieval age, and that is the establishment of the Delhi Sultanate. Establishment of Delhi Sultanate. Establishment of Delhi Sultanate. 1206 AD. So now listen. So in Delhi Sultanate, what we discussed, that basically the dynasties which ruled in Delhi Sultanate, and the entire duration of the Delhi Sultanate is from 1206 to 1526. Then, so the duration is from 1206 to 1526. Now let's look at the dynasties of the Delhi Sultanate. You can mention dynasties of DS, Delhi Sultanate. So dynasties of Delhi Sultanate. Which was the first one? Slave dynasty. And why it is called a slave dynasty? Slave. Good. Take care. So he was a slave of the Muhammad Ghori. Take. We will talking about. Take care. His name was Samsuddin. Then, but then he took the title Kutubuddin because he was the devotee of the Sufi saint Kutubuddin Bakhtiyar Kaki. Take care. Take care. So now. Right, slave dynasty. You will have to curb it. ठीक है, थोड़ा रुक जाओ. After class, I'll tell you. ठीक है, because interruption leads to the information के blockage. But whatever you are saying, that is right. ठीक है. So Mamluk is basically referred to the slave rulers. ठीक है, that's right. Then comes the Seljuks. ठीक है, Seljuks have two lineage. So, slave dynasty, its tenure is from 1206 to 1290. And I am writing some of the important rulers of the slave dynasty. देखो, rulers तो बहुत थे, but not everyone was important. So, in the classes, we'll be discussing about the initiatives of this important ruler. So, the most important, obviously, the first person would be the very important. So, Kutubuddin Aibak. Kutubuddin Aibak. And his timeline is 1206 to 1210. Then, after Kutubuddin Aibak, Iltutmish, and Iltutmish was the son-in-law of the Kutubuddin Aibak. But then, obviously, their tribes were different. Region chalo Turkey hai, okay? They were all from the Turkey area, but all of them were belonging to different tribes. So he was belonging to the Ilbari tribe. लिखो नहीं, मैं लिखवाऊंगा उसको जब भी क्लासेस में इलाबोरेशन में रहेंगे तो आई विल बी डिक्टेटिंग. सो इल्तुतमिश टेन्योर स्टार्टेड फ्रॉम 1210 to 1236. ठीक है. एंड देन for the first time in the history of the medieval India or Delhi Sultanate, a woman is going to become the ruler. She was the daughter of the Iltutmish, Rajia Sultan. So next you mention Rajia Sultan. 1236 to 1240. Then, so 1236 to 40. Now, after Rajia Sultan, she was killed in 1240 and she was killed by the Dacoits at a place called Kathal in Haryana. And actually the conspiracy was hatched by her own brothers then, who came to power. So their names I'm not writing. जरूरत नहीं है उनका नाम लिखने की, लेकिन सुन लो क्या नाम था. सो इन अ वेरी क्विक सक्सेशन, बहरम शाह, मसूद शाह एंड नसरुद्दीन शाह. ठीक है. सो दे वर द थ्री रूलर्स. सो बहरम फ्रॉम 1240 to 42, Masood 42 to 46, and 46 to 65 was a Nasiruddin Shah. So Nasiruddin Shah's tenure is going to be very longer, that 46 to 65, almost 20 years. But then came the most powerful ruler of the slave dynasty and who actually consolidated the Delhi Sultanate rule further. The name of the guy was the Ghiyasuddin Balban. Okay? So write his name. So Ghiyasuddin Balban. Ghiyasuddin Balban. 1265 to 86. Right? So this is the slave dynasty. Now, as we mentioned, 1290, the slave dynasty's rule is coming to end, and then the foundation of one of the very popular dynasty of this time, Khilji. So the last ruler was killed by his own general, Jalaluddin Khilji. And Jalaluddin Khilji established the Khilji dynasty. So on one hand, we call the slaves as Mamluk, okay? And Khiljis are called as Seljuk. Okay? So Seljuk and Mamluk. So Mamluk are purely Turkish. ये confusing हो जाता है beginning में, इसलिए मैं नहीं बताता हूँ, ठीक है? But फिर भी अभी समझो. Since you asked, so Mamluk का मतलब the slaves who are from the Turkey area, and Seljuks have two lineage. So one lineage is Turkish, but half lineage is from the Persia. ठीक है? So they had a half Persian lineage. Persian मतलब Iranian lineage. ठीक है? So the next dynasty, अब लिखो, आगे लिखो. I'll change the color. Khilji dynasty. Khilji dynasty. So from 1290 to 1320 was the Khilji. And in this, the only two important rulers are there. The very first one is obviously Jalaluddin Khilji, and then comes the Alauddin Khilji. So first you write Jalaluddin Khilji. 1290 to 96 was Jalaluddin Khilji, and Alauddin Khilji. So as compared to the ancient India, medieval is very straightforward. इसमें complications नहीं है, ठीक है? But in ancient, obviously, one dynasty here, one dynasty there. Then, so Alauddin Khilji. 1296 to 1316. Once again, his death will happen, and then after, the weak successors would be there, who will be eliminated in 1320 by Ghiyasuddin Tughlaq. But let's listen a little bit of story over here. Khilji dynasty. So Khilji dynasty was a main consolidation phase of the Delhi Sultanate in India, and particularly Alauddin Khilji was the one. So as far as the Jalaluddin Khilji is concerned, एक बात ध्यान से समझना, Jalaluddin Khilji was an able general then, and why he was very popular when the slave dynasty rulers were already there, but people were preferring that he must become the ruler. The reason is that he defeated one of the branch of the Mongols. So that is the time when the Mongol invasion of the world has started. Then, and Mongol, have you heard about the name Genghis Khan? Okay? So Genghis Khan, at the time of the Iltutmish, his lifetime was there. But then Iltutmish was a very intelligent ruler. He somehow avoided any kind of clash with the Genghis Khan. After the death of Genghis Khan has happened, his 5 sons were there, and they divided the entire kingdom into 5 parts, and they started further attacking in the different direction. So finally the Genghis branch fought with the Indian rulers. It is Jalaluddin Khilji who defeated them on the banks of river Indus. After that, his popularity increased, and everybody wanted that a person like him must become the ruler. And that's how he removed the last slave dynasty ruler in 1290, and he became the emperor. But then, in the lifetime of the Jalaluddin Khilji, the biggest threat was his own nephew, and his nephew was Alauddin Khilji. Then, so he knew that Alauddin Khilji had nuisance power. He can do anything. Then, so what he did, that he has given the area of Awadh to Alauddin Khilji, and he also married his daughter Mehru Nisa to Alauddin Khilji. But even that was not enough. And then came a moment in 1296 when he was returning back from the Bengal. He was invited by Alauddin Khilji to Awadh, and there only he was killed. Then, so then Alauddin Khilji came to the throne of the Delhi Sultanate. Now, when it comes to Alauddin Khilji is remembered in many ways. Good ways also, bad ways also. Okay? So, bad ways you all know that he was very lustful towards the women. He was always running after the women. And in fact, the entire battles were organized for the women. So, in due course of time, we will be discussing about that in whichever area he was invading, he was defeating the ruler. The one condition was that he will get married with their daughters. Then, so he will get married with their daughters, and he has such a lust for the women that he fell in love with his own bahu. Okay? Yeah. His own son Khijr Khan and the wife of the Khijr Khan. Okay? So, कहीं से खिसका हुआ तो था बंदा. ठीक है? But then, this is one aspect of a life. On the other hand, Alauddin Khilji is regarded as master of the market reform. Then his market policies were so strong and so prudent that in fact even till this date many a times his policies are referred for the controlling corruption. Then so we'll talk about it, that what were his market reforms. Then one of the biggest asset with the Alauddin Khilji was his general Malik Kafur. Have you heard his name? So Malik Kafur, I'll tell you a little bit about the Malik Kafur. Malik Kafur was actually, he was a transgender then, and he was in Gujarat. So when Alauddin Khilji has attacked Gujarat, he found Malik Kafur and he purchased Malik Kafur in 2000 dinar. Dinar is the currency. So in 2000 dinar, and then after, impressed by the capability and the capacity of the Malik Kafur, he was made the general of the army. Then so he was made the general of the army, and actually majority of the victories of the Alauddin Khilji in the southern India was because of the Malik Kafur. Then, so he was an asset to the Alauddin Khilji. But then when the death of Alauddin Khilji happened, so the very next thing which their Darbaris, who were Darbaris? Tughlaqs. Okay? So Tughlaqs, what they did, that they knew till the time Malik Kafur would be there, they cannot become the ruler. So first what they did, they killed Malik Kafur. And then after, in 1320, Ghiyasuddin Tughlaq founded the Tughlaq dynasty. So it is a pure Turkish dynasty. Ghiyasuddin Tughlaq's dynasty, pure Turkish. So Tughlaq's regime started from 1320 and it continued till what time? 1414. So it is the only Tughlaqs who ruled for the maximum number of the year in the Delhi Sultanate. So एक बार just लिखो Tughlaq dynasty. Mention. Tughlaq dynasty. So this is from 1320 to 1414. So इसमें भी let's write some of the important rulers of the Tughlaq, and the first and the foremost, obviously you have written, who is he? Ghiyasuddin Tughlaq. So mention Ghiyasuddin Tughlaq. So Ghiyasuddin Tughlaq, and 1320 to 24. Then after him his son, his second son, Muhammad bin Tughlaq, whose original name was Jona Khan. But then he came, it was a kind of a popular notion in those times कि नाम जो भी हो नए टाइटल के साथ राजा बनना था. So for example, in Mughal time, when we'll be talking about the Prince Salim, with what name he became the emperor? Jahangir. Prince Khurram, with what name he became? Shah Jahan. So this is, so original name used to be different, but when they are becoming emperor, so they are taking the new names. So Muhammad bin Tughlaq, originally Jona Khan. So I believe that if there would not have been Muhammad bin Tughlaq in the medieval history would not have been interesting. It is because of him, it's a very interesting phase. So till 51, sorry, not 48, till 51, 1324 to 51. So his regime is full of the events, and this is the time when Ibn Battuta has come to India. Okay? And Ibn Battuta also wrote a book which was known as Rehla, and in Rehla he has mentioned the observation about the Muhammad bin Tughlaq. We'll tell you something about him. He was a very bizarre ruler, very erratic. Then It is said about him that his nature cannot be predicted. At the moment he's very happy, he's hugging the people, and then anybody, okay? He's not discriminating between them. And then the second moment he turned so angry that he will order that there must be killing of that man. Then, so nobody knew that what kind of behavior he will be depicting then. And at the same point of time, he was a very learned man. He was a very learned man. He had knowledge of 9 to 8 languages. And then apart from it, he has a very good knowledge of astronomy and the mathematics. Then, but then he was unpredictable. Another thing which is said about him, that he took some good initiatives also. Actually, there were 5 experimental projects of the Muhammad bin Tughlaq. It was a good initiative, but then he unfortunately failed in all of them. Then, so we'll talk about it. One was the capital transfer, one was the token currency, one was the increasing the taxes in the Doab, and the 2 expeditions were there, Khorassan and Kurachil expedition. Okay? So in all of them he failed, but then he was bizarre. And another thing which is said about him, that he is noted for enjoying extreme death punishment. So he did not give just one punishment. Suppose obviously many criminals would be there, many crimes are happening. So suppose that one find that 10 people are to be given the death punishment. So 10 will be given different kind of death punishment. Kisi ko latka denge, kisi ko kaat denge. So he used to enjoy these all processes. So he was a man of a sadist pleasure. Then so now, after Muhammad bin Tughlaq, then comes the regime of the Firoz Shah Tughlaq. And Firoz Shah Tughlaq, actually he was left with the task of reviving the glory of the Delhi Sultanate. But then he was not completely successful in it, though he attempted a lot. So his life ended by 1367, 51 to 67. And then after, the weakness of the Tughlaqs was exposed to the world, and you know what is happening? Invasion of the Amir Timur. So, isi mein likhna, let's go to the downside and mention invasion of Amir Timur. (1398). And this invasion is continuous. In 1414, one of the general of the Amir Timur, whose name was Khijr Khan, he removed the Tughlaqs from the power and established Sayyid dynasty in the Delhi Sultanate. So mention Sayyid dynasty. And 1414 to 1451, and the only important ruler in this dynasty was the Khijr Khan, who founded it in 1414, and he was the general of the Amir Timur. So Amir Timur's death happened when he returned back from India, and then all the invasions were carried forwarded by him, who established his own dynasty. It is also Turkey-based dynasty. Okay? Then after it, the last dynasty of the Delhi Sultanate is the Lodhis. And what is unique thing about the Lodhis? They were the first Afghan dynasty who ruled in India. Then, so Lodhi dynasty, चाहो तो ब्रैकेट्स में लिख लेना, फर्स्ट अफगान डायनेस्टी इन इंडिया, फर्स्ट अफगान डायनेस्टी, and their timeline 1451 to 1526. So in this we will talk about the 3 rulers, Behlul Lodhi, Sikandar Lodhi, but the most important is the Ibrahim Lodhi. Okay? So the rulers, their names I am writing: Behlul Lodhi, Sikandar Lodhi, and the last one Ibrahim Lodhi. Now, अभी दिल्ली सल्तनत कंप्लीट नहीं है, and I'll go back to Tughlaq. Why so? Just understand. So this is Delhi Sultanate timeline, but then there are many such regional dynasties in India which are emerging at the time of the Tughlaqs. ठीक है? So when it comes to Tughlaq dynasty and this guy Muhammad bin Tughlaq, so during his tenure, two regional kingdoms were established in the southern India, and these regional kingdoms, the favorite of UPSC. One of it is the favorite of UPSC. Every year there used to be a question. Vijayanagar, and second is Bahmani. So Vijayanagar kingdom, Vijayanagar kingdom. So let's talk about Vijayanagar kingdom and then we'll come to the Bahmani later on. ठीक है? Bahmani के बारे में बाद में लिखते हैं. So Vijayanagar kingdom, as far as this kingdom is concerned, that originally this kingdom was, or this area was the part of the Muhammad bin Tughlaq's area, but then in 1336, two brothers, Harihar and Bukka, Harihar and Bukka Raya, they established it. Okay? So these two brothers established it. But then, as we mentioned, कि Delhi Sultanate में there were 5 dynasties. Similarly, in Vijayanagar kingdom also there were 4 dynasties. Okay? So overall tenure of the Vijayanagar is from 1336 to 1640. And in this duration, the dynasties, their names I am writing. Okay? So their further intrinsic classification we'll do in the class, but then यहाँ पे चारों का नाम लिख लो. ठीक है? So wait. Yep. So very first one, the first dynasty is called as Sangama dynasty. Second is called as, any idea? Suluva. Very good. Suluva dynasty. Third is Tuluva. And actually Raja Krishnadev Rai belonged to the third one, Tuluva. Okay? Tuluva dynasty. Isme I'll write the timeline of the Raja Krishnadev Rai, since about him we'll be mentioning in length and breadth. Then so you can mention his name over here in a different color. Raja Krishnadev Raya. (1509 to 1529). And the last dynasty of this, Aravidu dynasty. Then, and this continued from 1565 to 1640, and complete decline in 1640. Okay? So this is timeline of the Vijayanagar. The second kingdom was Bahmani kingdom. And this one, it is founded in 1447 by Alauddin Shah Bahman. Alauddin Shah Bahman. Then listen, so this dynasty, we have mentioned the timeline of the Krishnadev Rai, 1509 to 29. So Krishnadev Rai was the very powerful ruler, and moreover his biggest adversary of the Vijayanagar was the Bahmani himself. Then so 1509 he has defeated the Bahmanis, and after the division of the Bahmani has happened, so within the Bahmani kingdom 5 houses emerged. Okay? So what are these 5 houses, where they are located? Ahmednagar, okay? Bidar, Birar, Golconda and Bijapur. So इसी में लिखो, ऐड करो 5 houses of Bahmani. Five houses of Bahmani. Mention Ahmednagar, Bidar, Berar, Golconda, and Bijapur. Golconda and Bijapur. Done? Now, अब यहाँ से that though I have not gone into the title of the Mughals, but then I'll start the fusion of the modern. How come? So, whenever we talk about the modern Indian history, what we talk about? From where we start? Advent of Europeans. Obviously, advent of Europeans, meaning that the arrival of the European people in India. Then, so exactly their arrival did not happen in the modern period, that it happened from the medieval times. And whose time? Lodhi's time. Then, so who came at the Lodhi's time? Vasco da Gama. Okay? So, Vasco da Gama's, so advent of Europeans has started in between 1498 to 1608. So 1492, so basically 110 years is known for their arrival in India, and then their consolidation starts from the Jahangir's period. Okay? So now let's come back to the Lodhis. So what we have mentioned here, the first Afghan dynasty and the Lodhis. Then इसी में ठीक है, if you want, so just mention, ठीक है, just mention when Sikandar Lodhi, ठीक है, was the ruler. So this is the time, just एक hint दे के छोड़ दो, advent of Portuguese in India. Advent of Portuguese in India. 1498. In 1498. Then we'll further elaborate this topic after the completion of the Mughal timeline. So बस इतना लिख के छोड़ दो that for the first time they have arrived at the time of the Lodhis. And actually Portuguese dominated the Indian scenario for 100 years. From 1498 to 1600 nobody was there. It's only in the 1605 that Dutch have come. फिर उसके बाद 1608 English East India Company. Then 1616 Danish East India Company, and the last company was the French East India Company in 1664. Okay? So 100 years was completely dominated by the Portuguese. So now we are coming to the last leg of the medieval chronology. Acha, I just want to know at this time that are you able to understand the things? We are going in a slow pace. Generally क्या होता है कि फाउंडेशन बैचेस में एक ही दिन में सारी चीज खत्म हो जाती है, सारी क्रोनोलॉजी. Obviously, मतलब the scope is limited. So it's better that here you have already very good understanding of the chronology, and when the content will be filled, so then it will be easier for you to remember. And one more thing you remember, that difficult nahi hai ancient, medieval या modern history, because it all depends on the event that you are studying and the way that you are studying. If they are interesting, so you'll be able to remember. That's a reality, that if the things you find interesting, you will be remembering. If you don't find it interesting, so then it doesn't goes into your head. So we'll try to maintain that character, that it must be interesting to you. Okay? So now let's come to the Mughal period. So एक title लिखो, Mughal period. Mughal period. So Mughal period is 1526 to 1707. So 1707 पे हमारा medieval का कोर्स खत्म हो जाता है, and 1707 we start with the modern history. So basically, why 1707? Death of Aurangzeb. So death of Aurangzeb is considered as the end of the medieval and beginning of the pre-modern age. So now 1526. So how the Mughal rule was established? With the first battle of Panipat. First battle of Panipat. And in which year? 1526. This fight was between Ibrahim Lodhi versus Babur, Zahiruddin Babur. So now listen. So when it comes to Ibrahim Lodhi versus Zahiruddin Babur, 1526, what actually happened at this point of time? You need to understand a little bit. Understand. Actually, Ibrahim Lodhi was a very arrogant ruler, and he does not used to behave well with his own people. His own ministers were humiliated, embarrassed. Then there was one uncle of the Ibrahim Lodhi whose name was Daulat Khan Lodhi, and actually he mistreated his uncle, who was the governor of the Punjab. So it is said that Daulat Khan Lodhi is the one who invited Babur to attack India, and Babur at this point of time was the ruler of the Kabul. Okay? He was ruler of the Kabul, originally born and brought up in Uzbekistan. But then he was driven out of the Uzbekistan. He established his kingdom in the Afghanistan in Kabul. So now, initially Babur was not ready, but later on he was ready for it, and he came to India. When he came to India, so what happened? That he found that his army was exactly 1/10 of the army of the Ibrahim Lodhi. But then also, with his intelligent strategy and with use of one new thing in India, what was that? Cannon, top, gun name, cannon, top. So for the very first time, top was used, or cannons were used in India. Gunpowder was operated, Barood was operated from the cannons, and that's how he became successful against the Ibrahim Lodhi. So now he founded the Mughal dynasty. Now as far as the lineage of the Mughal is concerned, they are half Turkish and half Mongol, not Persian. So Mughals are half Turkish and half Mongol. We'll tell you how. So Amir Timur, whose name we mentioned. So Amir Timur was the father's figure of the Mughals, father side, paternal lineage, and from the mother side, Nigar Khagan, who was the daughter of the Chengiz Khan. Okay? So this is the lineage of the Mughals. So Amir Timur from the father side and Nigar Khagan from the Mongol side. Their marriage, and then after their progeny came to be known as the Mughals. Then, so now Babur. So Babur's tenure 1526 to 1530. Now listen. In this duration, or in this period, Babur had to fight with many people, and one of the ruler was Rana Sanga of Mewar in 1527. I'm not writing it, but just listen. So 1527 he has defeated Rana Sanga of Mewar, and in 1528 he has defeated Medini Rai of Chanderi. Then, so after these two battles, he also had to face the challenge of the Suri rulers of the Bihar and Bengal. But then Suris were not successful at this point of time against Babur. Babur's death happened in 1530, and then his son Humayun is becoming the next ruler. So Humayun is becoming next ruler 1530 to 1540. It is said that he was the most unfortunate ruler. So he was the most unfortunate ruler from the this part of the history. Why so? So though he was a good man, but then he has to face challenge with the two rulers. One was the Gujarati ruler Bahadur Shah, and another was the Sher Shah Suri of the Bihar Bengal. So though he was successful against the Bahadur Shah of the Gujarat, but not against the Sher Shah Suri. So there were two battles, Battle of Kannauj and Battle of Chausa, 1539 and 1540. Humayun was completely defeated, and then he has to leave India. So what happened? After this defeat, he found a refuge in the Rajput kingdom of Rajasthan, Amarkot. But then in 1543, he left Amarkot and he went to Iran. And why he left? Because his son was born, and he was a bit that scared about that what will happen to his son. So now they have left for the Iran and they got asylum in the court of Iranian ruler Shah Tamashp. So from 1543 to 1555, Humayun will be the Darbari or the courtier of the Iranian ruler Shah Tamasp. Meanwhile, in India, who is ruling? So, yeah. So एक नया dynasty India में आ गया, Sur dynasty. So Sur empire, and Sur empire is from 1540 to 55. Moreover, Sur are also Afghans. ठीक है? So they are also Afghans. Then, and the most important Sur ruler was the Sirsa Suri. (1540 to 45). After him, Islam Shah Suri, Muhammad Shah Suri, Abdul Shah Suri, many rulers came, but none of them were strong like the Sirsa Suri. Then, Humayun. Once again, I am writing Humayun. ठीक है? Defeated last Suri ruler in 1555. So basically Humayun has returned back to India in 1555, and he has now this time he has support of the Iranian ruler. So he defeated the last Suri ruler and re-establishment of Mughal rule. Re-establishment of Mughal rule. Then now listen. One unfortunate death of the Humayun happened. Soon after he has re-established Mughals in India. So unfortunate death happened whereby he fell from the stairs and then his death happened. So at this point of time, Akbar was not in India. His son, who was hardly 14 years old, and he was in Kabul at this time. So what happened that Akbar was declared the king of this area, but then he was not there. So it is said that Akbar became king without land, because he is not in India, so king without land. And when this news was known to one of the aide of the Sur ruler, his name was Hemachandra. Then, so Hemachandra captured Delhi at this time, and then the Mughal general Bairam Khan, he has fought with the Hemu in the second battle of Panipat, and then finally the firm rule of the Mughals have been established in 1556. So एक यहाँ पे लिखो second battle of Panipat. (1556) between Mughal general Bairam Khan versus Hemachandra. Hemu, he is also called as Hemu. He was aide of the Afghan ruler Suris, trusted minister. ठीक है? साहत तमश्प लिखवाएंगे अभी, तब deliberately I am not writing so many names ताकि थोड़ा सा clarity हो, and then later on when you are writing, so you'll be writing all the names. In fact, I'll tell you about the Amarkot ruler whose name was Chhatrasal, where Akbar was born in this kingdom itself. In fact, this is the reason that why Akbar has a very softer attitude towards the Rajput kingdoms, and he adopted the policy of the negotiation with the Rajput rulers when he has come to power. So now he is coming to power. Then, so you mention Akbar. So Akbar 1556 to 1605. Done? Are you done with it? So now, listen. So Akbar's life, let's talk about it. Akbar, when he became the ruler, so he was actually 14-year-old. He is still a child. So initially he was under the regency of the Bairam Khan. In 1560, Bairam Khan's death happened, and then Akbar came under the influence of a lady. Okay? She was actually the lady who has cared for Akbar when he was a child, and the name of the lady was Mahamanga. Then, so we'll talk about the influence of the Mahamanga. Many a times it is called as Parda rule. So 1560 to 64 is referred as Parda rule during Akbar's tenure. So Mahamanga's influence ended in 1564. Acha, how many of you have seen that movie Jodha Akbar? A good number of the people. So you must have seen that Akbar has thrown a guy from the top of the Red Fort. 3 times he was thrown. Movie में तो शायद एक बार दिखाया है, but original story में ये mentioned है कि Akbar threw him 3 times. Who was he? He was son of the Mahamanga. Then, and he, what crime he has done? He has killed one of the general of the Akbar. Then, so Akbar saw fortunately, and he killed the Adam Khan, who was son of Mahamanga. It is said that Mahamanga was in so much of pain that her death also happened after the death of her only son. Okay? So now, 1564 influence of the Mahamanga ended and Akbar became a full-fledged ruler. He started to take his decisions. So that is the time that Akbar has started expansion of the Mughal kingdom. And once again, like Harshvardhan, his area is also exactly similar to Harshvardhan. All the area above river Narmada. He has gone little bit south also, Ahmednagar, but he was not never able to completely win the Ahmednagar. So Akbar actually ruled half of the India, not the entire India. Okay? If there is any conception that he must have ruled all India, so that's not right. It's Aurangzeb who ruled all over India. Okay? So now Akbar's death happened in 1605, and as we mentioned that his eldest son was the Prince Salim. Prince Salim, who came to power with the title of the Jahangir. And why he was named Prince Salim, uski bhi ek kahani hai, that Akbar wanted son from his favorite queen Jodhabai. He was not blessed with even a single son. But then, according to some legends, it is said that Akbar got the blessing of the Sufi saint of the Fatehpur Sikri, whose name was Salim Chishti. And then he was blessed with the son. So that's why, impressed by that, in the honor of that Sufi saint, he kept the name of his son as Salim. But then Salim is going to become the ruler with the name of Jahangir. So Jahangir came to power in 1605. And Jahangir rule continues till 1627. Now, Jahangir's rule is the one when British East India Company has arrived in India and got the major privileges. So एक काम करो, in front of it you write यहाँ पे arrival of British East India Company. So what I have written BEIC, मतलब British East India Company. Arrival of British East India Company, and date also you can mention since 1608. Then, so now listen. So Jahangir, though he was also a good ruler, but then there were many weaknesses of the Jahangir. One of the weakness that he was always intoxicated. He was so much under the influence of the wine, and he was always that his glass of the wine must never be half. So he was always intoxicated. And then another thing, that he was a love boy also, always falling in love with somebody. पहले अनारकली और फिर then वो किधर चली, ठीक है? So so then his second love was Mehrunisa, okay? And Mehrunisa, when he got married to Mehrunisa, so she took the title of Noor Jahan. Noor Jahan was a very aspirational lady, very ambitious, very aspirational. She just did not want it to be a namesake queen, but she wanted to hold power. Then, so what she has done, that it is said, as per many theories, that she also made sure that Jahangir must always be intoxicated, okay, so that she can take the decisions. And actually, she flooded her own people into the administration. Her father became the Wazir, Prime Minister. her brother became the Khane-Saman, meaning the chief treasurer. So some of the important position of the Mughal court were given to the relatives of the Nur Jahan. And in fact, it is said that Nur Jahan used to run a small kitchen cabinet. इसका मतलब ये नहीं कि किचन से रन कर रही थी, कहने के लिए बोलते हैं किचन कैबिनेट, मीनिंग दैट the important cabinet or important ministers were there with her, and according to her wishes they were taking the decision. So finally what happened, that Nur Jahan's influence also came to end, because see, her influence would be there only till the life of the Jahangir, and she could not save the life of Jahangir. He was terminally ill, and in 1627 his death happened. So after the death of the Jahangir, Prince Khurram with the title of the Shah Jahan ascended to the throne. So Shah Jahan, and timeline of Shah Jahan 1627 to 58. Now listen. So Shah Jahan, when he has come to power, he was a man of architecture then, and as it is said that he was also that a committed man to one of his wife Mumtaz Mahal. Okay? Original name Anjuman Bano Begum. Then, and it is said that when the death of the Anjuman Bano Begum has happened in 1632, so then Shah Jahan has decided to create a monument in the memory of this lady, and that was the Taj Mahal. So it took 20 years for Taj Mahal to complete it. Construction started in 1633 and completed in 1653. Moreover, Shah Jahan did not went for many military campaigns. He was more interested in the architectural development of Delhi, Agra, Lahore, these all cities. Then now what has happened, since in this architectural initiative he has spent a lot of money, then so his sons were little bit of that they were in, I would not say anxiety, but they were restless, that they wanted money for themselves. And within the lifetime of the Shah Jahan, war of succession started among his sons. In that, what happened? So the originally what was planned, the eldest son of the Shah Jahan, Dara Suko, okay, he will become the ruler. But then the third son of the Shah Jahan was Alamgir Aurangzeb. He fought with the Dara Siko, he killed Dara Siko in battle of Samugad, and then he house arrested Shah Jahan in Red Fort, Agra. And then after he proclaimed himself to be the king. So basically Shah Jahan was alive when Aurangzeb became the ruler, and it is said that it is in 1661 death of the Shah Jahan has happened in the Agra fort. So Aurangzeb was the last Mughal emperor. Okay? Last mighty Mughal emperor, will say. Last Mughal emperor will be a wrong term, क्योंकि 1707 say what we talk about later Mughals, who are also sons of the Aurangzeb. So he is the last mighty Mughal emperor, and during the Aurangzeb's tenure, that maximum expansion of the Mughals have happened in India. So now the Mughals are ruling in the entire south, entire east, entire west, and so as the north. Even the rule of the Mughal is there in the Afghanistan also, and parts of the little bit of parts of the Iran also. Then, so Aurangzeb's tenure was this. But moreover, I hope you all know that Aurangzeb had different ways of ruling, and he was a fanatic then, and he was very orthodox. Being orthodox is not bad, but he was a fanatic. He has hatred towards the other religion, and it is said that Aurangzeb destroyed some of the big temples of India, and moreover, he was the one who destroyed the largest number of the temples in India. So there are many such calculation reports which are there. So for example, that if you go to the Archaeological Survey of India reports and then everything, so in the Udaipur area itself, he has destroyed 160 temples. Then, so what about the other parts of India? So anyways, so Aurangzeb was altogether on a fanatic way, and then he was going in a very altogether destructive direction. He was not able to realize that his initiatives will lead to the final nemesis of the Mughal Empire. Nemesis, you understand? Final destruction of the Mughal Empire. So he was not able to understand, and this is what happened. That people got so offended, people got so fed up with the Aurangzeb's policy and Aurangzeb, that soon after his death, the decline and disintegration of the Mughal Empire started. Then, so Aurangzeb was, his lifetime was the main point in the Mughal history of decline. Okay? So whenever we'll be starting after medieval जब हम खत्म करेंगे main course में and we'll be starting the modern India, so one of the initial topic would be the decline of Mughals, where we will try to list all the reasons that why Mughal dynasty declined from India. Then, so write the last name Alamgir Aurangzeb from the medieval. Alamgir Aurangzeb 1658 to 1707. Done? So now, so we are done with the medieval chronology. I'll start a little bit with the advent of the Europeans and also a little bit of the modern. Okay? So now, just look back at that what all things you have written. So let's revise a little bit. Kholo pehla panna, very first page that you have written. Done? So listen, let's revise it, okay, so that it will freshen up. So we started with the some definitions. Definitions अभी छोड़ देते हैं, timeline पे चलते हैं. Definitions were like prehistory, proto-history, recorded history, and then culture and civilization. Then after we started with the Stone Age. We divided Stone Age or prehistory part into 3 phases. These phases, Paleolithic, Mesolithic, and Neolithic. Paleolithic further subdivided into a lower Paleolithic, upper Paleolithic, and middle Paleolithic. So what was the basis of this division? Stone tool technology. So in these all ages, the shapes of the stone tools were changing. Lower Paleolithic, irregular stone tool. Middle Paleolithic, take a rectangular stone tool, and the upper Paleolithic, triangular stone tool. Then, so there is an advancement. In the Mesolithic age, very small stone tool known as microlith, then easily operated from the hand, and Neolithic polished stone tool. Okay? There are other things also we mentioned, but then let's limit it to this one. Then after Neolithic age, what we mentioned that after the Neolithic, Chalcolithic. Okay? And what is the unique feature of the Chalcolithic? Use of copper and stone. Okay? So use of copper and stone. And then we mentioned from 3000 BC onwards that what has happened, the development of the pre-Harappan civilization. Okay? So in between 300 to 2600, pre-Harappan civilization has started, and then the first civilization of India appeared in 2600. The reason of the appearance of this civilization was the surplus of agriculture and trade in the urban centers, development of the urban centers, and development of a special technique of the administration. So Indus Valley was the first civilization whose timeline was from 2600 to 1800. In 1800, due to varied reasons, the decline of Indus Valley happened. It could be flood, it could be drought, it could be change in the climate. So counting all of them, 1800 complete decline of the Indus Valley. Then on the other hand, in the rest of the part of India, what kind of culture is practiced? Chalcolithic. Around 1500, there is advent of Aryans. Then, so advent of Aryans, and who are Aryans? Central Asians, who has arrived from the steppes grassland of the Central Asia. And what was their greatest wealth? Cattle. They were in the search of good pasture land. India, biodiverse country, and hell lot of pasture land. But then, when they have arrived in India, so with their superior warfare technology, they established their rule in India. And one of the initial beginnings that they have made is the writing or composition of the Ved, done in the Sanskrit language. The first Ved to be composed was the Rig Ved. So since they started composing Ved, so their history in India is called as Vedic times. So Vedic period has two classification or two time phases: early Vedic period and later Vedic period. Early Vedic from 1500 BC to 1000 BCE. Then later Vedic period from 1000 to 500. And what was the marker event? Discovery of iron. Okay, so discovery of iron from the western UP. I think I mentioned the two places, Atranji Kheda and Jakhira. Then after that they have cleared the forest of the Gangetic plain, and so as they have entered into the Madhya Pradesh or Madhya Desh, Dakshina Panth and Purva Khand. Then so now expansion of the Aryans has happened by 500. But then the rituals and the rites and the customs and the traditions which has been created by the Aryans in the Vedic forms, they prove to be discriminatory by 600, and some deterioration has happened in the society. The position of the women is deteriorating, and so is the position of the backward. So that's why in the 6th century BC there was a rise of religious reform movement in the form of Buddhism and Jainism. Okay? So Buddhism and Jainism. Then after, okay, so Buddhism and Jainism is emerging in the 6th century BC. On the other hand, there is emergence of the rise of 16 big territorial states known as Mahajanpad. We mentioned that out of these Mahajanpads, the most important in the beginning, powerful in the beginning, were Kasi and Kosal. But then later on, Magad became the very powerful Mahajanpad because of iron. Okay? One of the reason is iron. There are many. So those many we'll discuss in the class. Then now, so from 6th century BC onwards, or basically 550 onwards, it all becomes the history of the Magad. Then, and how Magad has captured all the 16 Mahajanpad. So the initial ruling dynasty of the Magad was Haryanka dynasty, 554 to 412, in which we will be discussing about the rule of the Bimbisar, Ajatashatru, Udayin, and then other people. Then in 412, a minister of the Haryanka dynasty, Sisunag, he assassinated last ruler and he founded his own Sisunag dynasty, whose rule continues from 412 to 344. In 344, last Sisunag ruler Kalashok, he was assassinated by Mahapadmanand, who founded Nanda dynasty. Nanda dynasty was a short-lived dynasty, 44 to 321. But in this duration, many rulers were there. The last and the most important was the Dhananand. Dhananand's time, Alexander's attack of India has started. Okay? But then Dhananand was saved from the Alexander's attack because his army was exhausted. But then Dhananand could not be saved from the attack of the another person, Chandragupta Maurya. And Chandragupta Maurya was successful because of the support of Kautilya. Then now, so Maurya dynasty, the most powerful dynasty of the entire Indian ancient history, okay, has come to the scenario. So founded by Chandragupta Maurya. Then Chandragupta Maurya accepted Jainism, and then he died in a typical Jain fashion. Okay? Then after his son Bindusar, he becomes the ruler who continues till 273. And after the death of the Bindusar, war of succession among the sons, 4 saal tak war raha, and then in 269 Asoka comes to power, who continues till 232. During the Asoka's tenure, the area which was known for the fight Kalinga. Then, and in the Kalinga battle, large number of the people were massacred, which actually led to the change of heart in Asoka, and he decided that he will not go for the military annexation, and then he adopted the path of the Buddhism. Then, so path of the Buddhism. So till the lifetime of the Asoka, that is 232. Everything was good in the Mauryan Empire. But then after his death, the decline and the disintegration of the Mauryan Empire has started. Then, now, the last Maurya ruler was Brihadratha in 185, and he was killed by his own minister, Pushyamitra Sunga. Then, so by this point of time, already the shrinking of the Maurya Empire has started, because many people have started the Mauryan kingdom, invasion of the Mauryan kingdom. So, 185 to 250 AD is regarded as post-Maurya age, and in this age we discussed two type of the dynasties. Then these two type of the dynasties were outsiders and insiders. Then, so who were the outsiders? Insiders pehle dekh lo. So insiders, one is the Sunga, who was replaced by Kanava in 75 BC, and then in 1st century AD Kanavas were replaced by Satavahanas. Then, so this is the indigenous dynasties. On the other hand, foreigners. So the first to invade the Mauryan India was Indo-Greeks in 190 onwards. Then, and then after Sakas. So Sakas invaded from 90 onwards, 90 BC onwards, and then came Parthians, whose invasion started from 25 AD. Then, and the last is the Kushanas. So Kushana's invasion from 65, but there were two branches, and one came in the 78, which was a Kanishk branch, which was the most important branch. At the time of the Kanishk, we will be discussing about the 4th Buddhist Council that he has convened and the development related to the Buddhism. Just give me 1 minute. So this is the part of the post-Maurya. Now, so now we have reached till the 250 AD. In 250 AD, there was a dynasty which got formed in the Prayag area, and the name of the dynasty was the Guptas. They belong to the trading community, Vaishyas. Then that's why Guptas. Then now, so Gupta dynasty founder was Sri Gupta, but then the real founder of the Guptas was Chandragupta first. Then 319 to 335. But the most powerful Gupta ruler was the son of the Chandragupta first, Samudragupta. And during the time of the Samudragupta, approximately 75% area of the Indian subcontinent was under the control of the Guptas. So they are the second most powerful ruler after the Ashoka. Okay? Then Samudragupta's death, and then his son Chandragupta II, most enlightened ruler of the Indian history. Why so? Development in the many directions, many fields. Then, so not just winning over the people, but also the development of many fields. Then his death, Kumar Gupta, from where we started the discussion little bit. So he founded Nalanda University, and the last important ruler was Skanda Gupta. But then the Gupta's complete decline happened by 550 AD due to the invasion of the Hunas. Then now let's get back. South India, we did not discuss till this point of time, because obviously Asoka was controlling some part of South, only barring few areas. So now South Indian history, we start with the Sangam age. Then, and as we mentioned that kuch problems रहते हैं date के बारे में Sangam age, because Tamil Nadu government differs from the central government. Then, so according to them, the Sangam age is from 500 BC to 600 AD. But according to central government, 3rd century BC to 6th century AD. Then, so this is one thing. Why it is called as Sangam age? Because of the Sangam assemblies which were organized by the Pandya rulers, and all the dynasty, though they were enemies, but they all participated in the literature development. So which all dynasties were there? Chola, Chera and Pandyas. And Cholas are generally referred as early Chola. Why we refer them early Chola? To differentiate with the last one, mainline Chola. Now, so these dynasties, they are functioning till 600. Now in 600, one of the dynasty, that is early Chola, decline has happened. And then two dynasties emerged from the early Chola, whose names are Chalukya and Pallavas. Then on the other hand, Chera and Pandyas, their rule continued. Then now we are looking at the North India. अब वापस हम North India देख रहे हैं. 550 Gupta's demise. Then, and after that, vacuum in the North India. By 600, this vacuum was filled by the dynasty of the Pushyabhuti. ठीक है, Thaneshwar based, Haryana based dynasty Pushyabhuti, whose founder was Prabhakar Vardhan, but the most important ruler Harshvardhan. Harshvardhan was the contemporary of the Chalukya ruler Pulakesin II. They had a fight, after which they divide the territory. ठीक है, that they will be respecting each other's territory and they will not venture into each other's territory. Then moreover, we are further looking at the Harshvardhan's rule, whose death happened in 647. After him, the weak successors were there. By 700, Pushyabhuti dynasty is also completely gone from the north and central part of India. So at the place of the Pushyabhuti, 3 dynasties are emerging. That is Pratihar Gurjar of the western India, Pal dynasty of the eastern India, and central and Deccan India, Rashtrakutas. But Rashtrakuta are not only taking the area of the Harshvardhan, but also the area of the Rashtrakutas. Okay? So area of the, Chalukyas. So Chalukyas, and then finally, we are once again visiting the southern India, whereby in 890, Pallavas are completely removed by the earlier Chola dynasty, whose lineage is continuing, and now they will come with a bang with the name mainline Chola dynasty. And who was the founder? Vijayalaya. Then, moreover, by the time of the Chola ruler, okay, Rajendra I, the Chera and Pandyas are completely defeated, and the biggest kingdom of the South India has been created. Okay? So this is what we talked about the ancient history. I think revision के time पे तुम्हें और clarity महसूस हो रहा है. ठीक है? You are able to remember. Let's go into the medieval part. Then, so now understand medieval. So medieval was little straightforward. First we started with that how the Islamic rule got established in India. So how we started that invasions. ठीक है? So invasion is the beginning. कि ऐसा नहीं हुआ कि इन्वेजन के तुरंत बाद रूल स्टार्ट हो गया. इट्स अ बिगिनिंग. सो फर्स्ट इन्वेजन वाज इन 712 AD बाय Umayyad dynasty ruler Muhammad bin Qasim of Saudi Arabia. But then his rule was not there for longer period of time because he himself was killed by the Turkish people. ठीक है? Then after the second invasion was Mahmud of Ghazni, and then it all started from 985, and he attacked India 17 times. His last attack was the destruction of the Somnath temple in 1025 AD. Then after, his attack proved to be very motivational, very kind of that you can say that inspirational for the people in the Western Asia. So they felt that whenever there would be a need of money, it is a better to attack on India, and that's how in 1150s Muhammad Ghori is diverting his attention towards India. Initially he was victorious in Multan and Uch. He was defeated in Gujarat, but then finally he was victorious against Prithviraj Chauhan in the Battle of Tarain 1192. In 1194 his trusted slave has defeated in Battle of Chandavar Jaichand, and then after the caretaker rule of the Turkish people started in India. 1206 when Muhammad Ghori was killed in the Salt Range. So then after Kutubuddin Aibak, he declared the formation of the Delhi Sultanate. Okay? So Delhi Sultanate 1206. So this is the beginning of the Sultanate of India, Islamic Sultanate of India. So 5 dynasties ruled in the Islamic Delhi Sultanate. The first is the slave dynasty, second Khilji, third Tughlaq, fourth Sayyid, and fifth Lodhi. Then, so the timeline of the slave till 1290, 1320 was the last timeline of Khilji, and 1414 was the last timeline of the Tughlaqs, 51 was the last timeline of the Sayyid, and the last is the Lodhis till 1526. Then, so now in 1526, so what we mentioned at the time of Muhammad bin Tughlaq, whose timeline was from 1324 to 1351. Creation of the 2 big kingdoms in the southern India, Vijayanagar kingdom 1336, which continued till 1640. And in this duration of the Vijayanagar kingdom, 4 dynasties ruled, which are Sangama, Suluva, Tuluva, and Aravidu. And then after, we talked about the Bahmani kingdom, which also got created in 1347, but it soon got divided into 5 houses: Ahmednagar, Bedar, Birar, and Golconda, and Bijapur. Got it? Then 1526 is the year in which the fight between Ibrahim Lodhi and Jahiruddin Babur has happened. Babur army was 1/10 of the army of the Ibrahim Lodi, but he was successful because of the use of the cannons. Top, okay? So cannons. And finally, the Mughal dynasty has been founded in India. It is half Mongol and half Turkish dynasty. Then, listen. So, Babur tenure 1526 to 30. He has some fight with the Mewad ruler Sanga, Maharana Sanga of the Mewad, and then Medini Roy of Chanderi. But then his death happened in 1530. His son Humayun was an unfortunate ruler. Then he had to fight with many people at same point of time, and he was defeated by Sirsa Suri of the Bihar Bengal in two battles, Battle of Kannauj and Battle of Chausa. Then 1539-1540. He took refuge in the Iranian kingdom under the rule of the Sahat Tamashp. Then, on the other hand, in India, Sur Empire has been founded under the Sirsa Suri. But Sirsa Suri was the only important ruler. After his death, his successors were weak. 1555, Humayun has returned back from Iran, and with the help of the Iranian ruler, he completely removed the Sur from Delhi, and then he re-established Mughal dynasty. Okay? So re-establishment of the Mughal dynasty, but then his unfortunate death also happened. He fell from his stairs, after which one of the minister of the Sur dynasty, Hemchandra, he captured Delhi, which led to the second battle of Panipat between the Mughal general Bairam Khan and Hemchandra. Hemchandra was defeated and killed, and the arrival of the Akbar on the Indian scenario has happened. So Akbar's rule 1556 to 1605. Initially, he was under the regency of Bairam Khan, whose death happened in 1560, then under the influence of Mahamanga for 4 years, and then his full-fledged rule starts from 1564. Then, so he is controlling half the area of the Indian subcontinent, and he is known for his good governance in this particular period. After him, his son Jahangir, who is also an able ruler, but under the grip of the intoxication. And at his point of time, his wife Noor Jahan was most influential, who was taking majority of the decision. Another important thing, that the first British convoy, or the British East India convoy led by Sir Hawkins, has arrived in the Jahangir's court, and it is Jahangir who gave many such privileges to the British East India Company. Okay? Now, let's come to the next part. His death, and his son Khurram is ascending to the throne with the title of Shah Jahan. His tenure is known for the architectural development. Then, so some of the architectural marvelous buildings of the India were created at the time of the Shah Jahan. But then, during his lifetime only, his sons have started to fight with each other, and in that fight, his third son killed the first son, Dara Shikoh, and then his third son house arrested Shah Jahan, and he became the ruler, and the person was Alamgir Aurangzeb. Then, so Aurangzeb's tenure is the one which is the longest, 1658 to 1707. But in this longest tenure, he has implanted all the seeds of the Mughal decline. Though he is thinking that it will lead to the betterment, but it is actually working in the opposite direction. And then from 1707 onwards, which is the modern period, the decline of the Mughal has started. Okay? So this is the timeline that I needed to mention. Okay? So I will be concluding the today's class over here. But then one last thing. Okay? One last thing. That last class we discussed about a book for that ancient part. For medieval part, I'm just prescribing you only one book. ठीक है, किसी और पे मत जाओ. That is the themes in Indian history part 2. ठीक है, the new NCERT of the class 11th. उसके अलावा कुछ और अभी फिलहाल के लिए मत देखो. ठीक है, so just go ahead with it. If there would be any need, so I will be suggesting you. And my request to you, by the time these courses are starting, please be complete with this NCERT. ठीक है, so if you want to purchase it. If you want to download it from the NCERT website, download it. ठीक है? चलो. So next week, whenever we'll be having the class, we'll be starting with the modern. ठीक है? Thank you.